teacher. I am a high school math teacher. I taught math this morning and I had many, many eye rolls about how dumb my activity was, or why do we have to do this? Because they can just put it in their calculator. So that was fun times today. I'm going to win them over. I will. Many of them I've already won over. I am a Google certified innovator and I am a Google developer expert, which means that I code. And so super exciting is I have a brand new add-on that just came out yesterday. I'm a developer for Schoolitics, and that is my part-time job because of course I part-time teach high school math. And so for my sponsorship with Schoolitics, we have slides, seating chart slides. I always want to say it backwards. It's seating chart slides. So you put your roster in a Google Doc, and it's going to take your roster of students and make it into a seating chart in Google Slides. But you know what? You can do that with vocabulary words. So if you just have a Google Doc with your vocab words, it's going to put it into a Google Slides where each vocab word is a draggable icon. So I think you're going to really like that. And I coded that. So that is my hobby and things that I really enjoy doing. And I'm joined tonight by Anna, who's going to let me switch the spotlight.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I am really excited to chat with Alice, who doesn't love chatting with Alice. I am the Director of Instructional Technology for Schoolitics, and my job is to take all of my classroom and teaching experience, my background's in special education, and then bring that to Schoolitics to make Schoolitics a tool that saves teachers time and teaches them more about their students. So I'll be in the chat tonight, and we love feedback. All of our best features at Schoolitics come from teacher feedback. So if you're new to Schoolitics, Alice will walk you through it. Is Schoolitics hiring? We have a certified training program, and we're going to be rapidly expanding. So we're always accepting applications. And thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Good segue. Actually, they were not hiring. And when I saw Schoolitics, I said, this is my jam. Like, I code Google Classroom, Schoolitics does Google Classroom. No one loves data more than me. If you know anything about me, the answer is always a spreadsheet. And I demanded that they give me a job. So maybe, Brittany, that's how you get in, is you just got to demand one, because it worked. And everything there is super nice. Did Anna mention that she has a doctorate? Because she does. Yeah. Thanks. Yes, and I hope that you will join our certified trainer program because we would love to chat with you. Jason, we will definitely get you that information. We'll send that out to everyone who would like to participate. Please let us know. So this is a follow-up to the webinar that we did for EdWeb, where we did do more with Google Classroom data. So I'm going to go ahead and link down in the chat. These are the prior webinar slides. So just put that out there as a resource for you. And so that is going to allow you to just see what we talked about last time. And we are extending on that today. So we are doing Do More with Classroom.com. Can you please tell me, what challenges do you have with Google Classroom and data? This is going to be the same Google form. So if anyone's ever done a presentation with me, you know, this is my favorite trick, is I keep recycling the same form so that I can get a little more engagement and participation from all of you. So please fill out the form. It is the same as going to Do More with Classroom.com. All right, I'm gonna scroll down here. Here we go. All right, so I'll be able to see your responses. If you want to give me a really quick heads up, what challenges do you have with Google Classroom and data? And as I said, our previous webinar was on Google Classroom and the data that you can get from Google Classroom. And today we're gonna go even beyond that. So we'd love to see your responses. I got one. Okay, just wait a second. Yeah, Annie, I see you. Here we go. We got a few answers coming in, so I want to make sure everybody has enough time to submit. I love using Google Classroom, obviously. I have co-authored the book, Stepping Up to Google Classroom, 50 Steps for Beginners, and I have several other books on Google Classroom. It is my daily staple. How do I know students are interacting? I was out of town for a couple of days on Monday and Tuesday, but I know my daily routine is I always post what I'm doing every day in Google Classroom, so no one should have to say, what did I miss? What are we doing? I had nobody email me, message me, text me saying, what are we doing today? And in fact, fun story, we didn't even really have a sub because in a school in the 1970s model where we have open classrooms, we don't have doors. So the teacher next door to me just kind of stood in both directions and was able to see my students. They were working and they were able to get into Google Classroom, no problem, which was really great. Okay, last chance to submit because I'm going to go ahead and refresh. I see that I have several responses from you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And refresh. Okay. Grade reports based on points, not percentages. Dr. Erb, I am so with you on this. I dropped out of the doctoral program, but when I was working on a doctorate, I was working on how do we make the gradebook more like World of Warcraft, because in video games, we use data to motivate players, but in schools, we use data to make kids feel dumb. So my whole premise of the dissertation that I did not write was how do we take the total points that we already have and use that to help kids to level up, and that sees you always have forward progress. So I have great news for you is that Schoolitics has a new feature where we now have total points, and we would love your ideas on how you'd like that integrated into the progress report. Okay, we want to use Google Classroom primarily, and our superintendent, yes, it is definitely a challenge when they want you to use something else. I'm sticking with Google Classroom, but I agree with you. Automatic updates to a Google Sheet would be great. So if we can get you some automatic updates, maybe to, well, I wanted it in a Google Sheet too, but I got it for a Google Doc. I'll show you something. Okay, none, that's fine, great. Just know the basics. Thanks, Richard, for being here. Samina, fair, you know, I don't feel like Google Classroom really puts the data up in front. It's really more about interacting with kids and providing those interactive experiences, and that data is off on the side in the background. If a kid doesn't complete assignment, going back and finding that data is a booger. I'm going to solve that for you today. Thanks, Tina, appreciate it. Communicating data to parents, essentially using Google Classroom data as a reporting tool. Deborah, there is no parent portal. You do have the Guardian summaries with Google Classroom, but I personally turn it off because I don't have control over it. And I don't want to have to explain something that I don't know what's sent out. So Schoolitics does have a parent portal that is not part of the free version, but if you would be interested in that, and if you could put the link to schedule a demo for that. And hey, thanks, Deborah, for putting that link down there. I appreciate that a lot. Right, just putting everything in order in your Google Classroom. Now, hopefully you're using topics on the classwork page and you can drag and reorganize them, but on the progress report, usually your progress reports are fixed. So I'll show you how you can do some customization with that. Thank you. Google Classroom and Genesis Gradebook don't talk to each other. Just so you know, that's on the Genesis end. There is an API where they could integrate, but it's not easy or fun, so I can understand why they haven't done that yet. Thank you, Nicole. Yes, missing work, Annie. Thank you. It's difficult for parents to see the login. So again, if parent logins is something that you are interested in, that's not a topic of our webinar today, but Schoolitics does have parent logins part of the not free accounts. So please schedule a demo for that if you are interested. Thanks, Brittany. Okay, so just talking about Google Classroom, what kind of data can you get from Google Classroom? And you can go to the individual student view, right? So when you are on the People tab, you're on the People tab in Google Classroom and you click on a student's name, that is individual student view. Essentially, that's a progress report. It's going to show you the list of their assignments, what scores that they have, and it has some filters on the side for assignments that are missing, turned in, or returned. One of the challenges I have with this is that a 0 does not count as missing, or if you are like many schools where you put in 50%, if it's missing, that doesn't show up as missing either. To be honest, I don't have a good solution for that yet, but it's always something that I'm looking at trying to solve, is how to really communicate what's going on with the data, right? You have the grades tab, which just gives you a big grid, but it's not really good for progress reports. It doesn't even copy and paste very nicely anywhere else. So the place to really handle that is to open any assignment, and you're going to choose export to sheets. So there is a settings cog in the upper right-hand corner, of any assignment, not a material, not an announcement, but an assignment, and you'll see the option to copy all grades to Google Sheets. Now, someone mentioned that does not update, right? So once you export it, it makes a copy of the grades, and then you can start to format it, delete, do whatever you want on there. But you can even make your own custom progress reports using like AutoCrat, but it would not update when students turn in work. When you've done more grading, you'd have to start that over with a fresh export. But it's a great way for me to get my roster, so I really appreciate that. So I will go to any assignment, I will click on the cog, and I copy all grades to Google Sheets, just so I can get the email addresses of all my students. Yes, and I'm not quite sure who that is, and I apologize. So we found out the hard way that we couldn't do co-teacher today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, well, I can just do mute all. Turn all, right? Is that good, everyone? All right, great. And then there, please feel free to unmute yourself if you do have a question, or Anna's here to answer your questions in the chat. So if you have any in there, any questions, please feel free to put them down there, or just some general comments. Anna will share those in a minute. Okay, this is new, so you probably don't have it, is you're gonna find the activity tab. And what the activity tab is gonna show you is for each student on your roster, the last activity date, the last comment, and the last submission. But here's the thing that I figured out today, is it's only on the last week. So if they turned in something 2 weeks ago and they have not turned anything in this week, it's gonna show that they've done no activity at all. So just to be aware, that activity tab is just the activity of the last week, and it's going to show you whatever they've done in the last week. Friendly heads up. And there was a question about this being recorded. We will definitely send the recording out to all of you and everyone who registered but was not able to attend. All right, so thank you. So we're going to take a look at Schoolitics. I do work for Schoolix, but I work for Schoolix because I love it so much. I literally demanded, please give me a job. I know you didn't post one, but I want to code for you. So they're letting me do that. It is free for teachers. So I use the free teacher account every day. I get in there and I see all kinds of great data and information. And so we want to share with you some of the features that are in Schoolitics, and some of them are brand new. So I'm really excited to show this to you. So we would like this to be a little more interactive, more like a chat, and an opportunity for you to ask questions. So if you would Control-T, go to a new tab and go to Schoolytics.com. Put this down here. If you would go to Schoolytics.com, you're going to be able to log in with Google. So in the upper right-hand corner, let me switch over here. When you go to Schoolytics.com, you're going to see the login in the upper right-hand corner, this white button, and it's going to ask you to log in with Google. So it has a lot of buttons on there. Are you a parent? Are you an administrator? Are you a teacher? Just go ahead and click on the one on the left side that says Google. I'm already signed in, so going to skip that screen for me most likely. So Jason, yes, I would use your school account if you're able to, just because you're not going to be able to see any data if you probably on your personal account. So anybody using Google Classrooms on their personal accounts, it's possible. My husband literally made a Google Classroom for the chore chart for our 5 children. So he assigns them chores through Google Classroom at our house. This is what happens when both of your parents are teachers. What's extra funny about this is my husband is not techie at all. Like, he would just like to live in the woods with books, you know. Of course, I write books about Google Classroom, and this wasn't even my idea to do the chore chart in Google Classroom. It was his idea. I'm like, this is hilarious. Only teachers. So if anyone wants to know, could you use it at home on your personal accounts? Sure. Sure. Tell your kids to do the dishes and turn it in. Okay. So if you'll go ahead and log in and just take a quick look when you log into, I knew it's going to bypass the sign in screen, but it's really so easy because I have no sign in information that I have to do. I just log in. Someone have a question? All right, no problem. All right, so you'll notice when I log in, this looks like it's really terrible and that I'm doing a great job grading, but I'm not doing a great job of getting everyone to do their work. This is, of course, a sample class. And when you filled out the Google form, it did allow you to link to this particular class if you wanted to be able to see what it looks like when you submit work. Okay, so I want you to just kind of log in, take a look at the dashboard. You'll notice you have all your screens. In the upper left-hand corner is these 3 lines menu, and I'm able to go to classes. If you already had a Schoolytics account, we've made some new changes, and it's possible that these new changes affected which classes are shown. So you do want to make
order. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We do want to make sure that you go to your classes and that you manage your classrooms. So we have this whole new feature where
He's taking order.
I'm not sure how that's happening. I am muting it, but that's all right. Just going to keep rolling. So we have these new filters where you can have active and archive classes. So that's new, that you can now access your archive classes, which of course you want because you need to reuse assignments from last year. So you can have up to 10 classes for free that you can go ahead and connect so that you can reuse assignments and so you can find data on your current assignments. And then you can hide and show which classes data is showing on your dashboard. So a lot of times when I'm working with my algebra class, one of the things I love is I have 2 periods. Actually, I teach applied geometry, right? So I have 2 periods of applied geometry. I can look at all the data from just my applied geometry pulled together. So I would toggle hide on all the algebra classes so that I'm only looking at the geometry classes, and then I switch the toggles. So Brittany has 10 classes at one time. Correct. You can switch it out. So when you go to manage classrooms, you can select a different 10 at any time. So let's say that you are a co-teacher and you have 12 classrooms that you're kind of in and out of. You can, few extra steps, but it's really not so bad. Hey, thanks, Anna. She's got a guide for syncing classes down there. So you can just come up here to manage classrooms and shift this around as much as you want to get the 10. Okay. I don't see the Teacher Pro button on there, but we do have the ability to, the free version's 10. If you want unlimited, there is a paid version, of course. And this is brand new. I'm still like, woo, I needed this. I actually have in my other account 337 Google Classrooms. So the ability to filter them is like, thank you. I really needed that. And I'm going to go ahead and view the dashboard. So I'm just going to wait a second. I'm going to let you pick your classes. You're going to go to the 3 lines menu, go to classes, manage your classrooms, and then we'll be monitoring the chat for some questions. That's a great point. If you use support@schoolitics.com, someone answers you back pretty promptly. It's not me. Only because I don't have access. I would. Sometimes they'll send me a question. Do you know how to answer this? I'm like, I do. And I answer them, right? So, fantastic. All right, I'm going to go ahead and toggle back over here. So you should have gone to schoolitics.com. You should have logged in and selected your classes. If anyone had any challenges or questions about that, please go ahead and put that down in the chat. All right, we're going to take a look at the dashboard. And one of the things that makes Schoolitics customizable, as we talk about customizing today, is the fact that it looks at the date range. Now, what I really love about being able to adjust the date range is I'm going to set the date range to last week, and I'm going to set the date range to this week, and I want to see if we've improved. I'm looking for growth. I can look for growth on a student level, on a class level, or all my classes. So I really love that. So I'm here, I'm going to go to the dashboard, and you can see right up here at the top, it says date range is from 9/14 to 10/14. What? I had 100% assignments graded just a little bit ago. Thank you guys. Some of you are turning work in. I appreciate it. So, but that should also show you how quickly it's syncing. It takes about 30 seconds when a student submits their work before it syncs back to Google Classroom. There are some other features of Schoolitics that only update every 24 hours. So do be aware of that. All right, so I'm going to go to the date range, and up there, I'm going to go all the way back to May. And you're going to see my statistics are about to become a lot worse. Okay, so I had a 90% average, and now I have an 88% average, and I only have 62% of my assignments are graded. And then you can see this little chart at the bottom that shows which days people were turning in work, so I can see the activity in my class. Yes. All right, and then on the left-hand side, if you will click on student work on the left-hand side, it's going to show you work that's been submitted. So someone had mentioned when students turn in late work, it's a challenge. And so this is my go-to. I go straight for the student work section, and all the columns are clickable. So I go to turned in at, see how I hover on turned in at, and I click on it, and I click on it again, so that I get that sort the way that I want it to. I want to sort it with the newest at the top. So I can see that Anna just turned this in at 2:46. I had Amy turn this in at 2:44. And all of these are clickable. So I'm going to go see what John Putnam said. I'm going to click on the assignment title. It's going to open up Google Classroom for me. So there I can give a score, I can give feedback, and see if other students engaged in on that activity. So it really helps me because this activity feed shows me all the assignments. All of the student pairing with assignments are going to show me here. I'm pretty much consistent. I always clicked on turned in at and in reverse sort, so I can see those. But then if you come over to my Google Classroom class and I click on activity, you'll see it's only showing me October 7th through October 14th. So when I look at the last activity, I'm only seeing the ones that were done this week. Whereas in Schoolitics, I can go all the way back. I know this is why I demanded them to give me a job. I'm like, this is all I ever wanted in life. Is to be able to see if students have turned work in and to get them a progress report. So speaking of progress reports, we're going to take a look at customizing progress reports because this is report card season. I thought I had to have my progress reports done today, turn in my grades today, but apparently I get one more week. I was off, but I want to make sure that I have that feedback and comments. And so when I call parents that I have the right information. All right, Anna, do we have any questions before I move on or things that are notable?
Sure. One question from Brittany, which I think is a great one. So in Brittany's district, student emails are not turned on. So if you wanted to share information from Schoolitics with a student, that's not a problem if you can't do it through email. You just click the 3 dots, save whatever you're looking at to Drive, and then you can share it with the student directly in Google Classroom. And Alice taught me how to do that with, you can send it in a private comment to the student. So there's lots of easy ways to slip that link to the Google Doc to the student. This is something just for troubleshooting. So Christy says student averages are not matching between Schoolitics and the Google Classroom Gradebook. So grades are always a bit of a tricky point. Schoolitics weighting, and Alice, please correct me if I'm wrong, it does not necessarily match up to Google Classroom. So sometimes it won't. So what you can do is with school-wide accounts in Schoolitics, we can adjust the grading or remove the grades if that's going to cause, upset parents or students because the grades don't match up. So Schoolitics is primarily helpful with assignments right now. and we're working to improve the grading features. So I've taken that feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Uh-oh, what did I do? Did I make you the host on accident? I usually use Google Meet, so, you know, I meant to switch the spotlight.
Looks like you're still host.
Okay, I don't know what I've done. It looks like it's spotlighting on you no matter what I do. Great, guys, I'm really good at using Google Class or technology. It's fantastic. Can't figure out what it's showing right now. That's okay. Again, the reason that I asked Schoolitics to give me a job is because I do code Google Classroom, and some of my frustrations with coding Google Classroom is I actually do not have the ability to access the grading categories. So when you go, if you do weighted grades in Google Classroom, and which I recommend that you don't, because you don't really have the control over it like you think you do. I consider myself an expert on grades and data, and I'm not very happy with how they put that together personally. That information is not part of the API. So that means that third parties like Schoolitics or any other product, nobody has the ability to get the weights that you have. So my hack is that in Schoolitics, you have the ability, and I have a slide for this in a little bit, is to add hashtags. And so if you add a hashtag, there we go. Okay. I think I figured out the spotlight. I apologize. If you add a hashtag into your assignment descriptions for your categories, then we'd be able to get you the weighting and the reports based on how you do it in hashtags. It would be 2 steps though, because if you chose the weighting category, the weighted grading category in the sidebar, if you're not consistent about doing it with a hashtag in the description, then again, you'd be back to them not matching. Okay. And someone's sending me a direct message. So I will get you my email. You can email me, alice@schoolitics.com. I can't answer this personal question right now. So if you could direct, send the DM questions to Anna Hartramp, she will be able to answer those for you quicker. Okay, let me just type this real quick. Okay, fantastic. So when you are in Schoolitics and you have logged in, you should be able to click on students on the left-hand side. So whichever table that you want to filter down to, you can obviously see them right over there. So we're going to select the students table. You're going to see that it gives me a list of students. And remember, all of those columns are clickable. So I can sort by student name, I can sort by class name, I can sort by how many assignments they've completed. So I can know, like, okay, which students have not completed a lot of work, but please do remember that this is on the date range. All the data is on that date range. So you want to adjust the dates up at the top back to the beginning of the semester if you're looking for quarter progress reports. Right, so you're going to click on the students table and you're looking for that drill down icon. It looks like a little man on a clipboard. And so when you click on that, and again, double check those date ranges, please. And so it's really nice because it allows me to not have to have my progress report be so long, but maybe just for the week. And then I'm going to click on that green icon that says progress report. So when I click on that green icon that says progress report, it'll allow, it will allow me to save it to Google Drive. Do you see where it says create Google Doc? That is it. It's a Google Doc. You know how to make share a Google Doc. You know how to edit a Google Doc. You know how to customize a Google Doc. You know what to do with a Google Doc, and you know where to find it. You're going to find it in Google Drive. So once it creates the Google Doc with the progress report, you're going to see it that the buttons change to view folder and view report. And I don't use PDF because I want to customize it and I want it saved to my Google Drive, right? So it's there. If you want a PDF, it's there. I love Google Docs. So I click view report and it's going to open that right up and I can see this Google Doc. You can see Marsha's progress report right here. It gives me some really nice charts, again, on the date range, but it's a Google Doc, so I can customize this whole thing however I want. So I'm going to go, Stephanie, I would be happy to show that again. I'm actually going to show it live, but I will also just give you, let me back this up. I'm on this page. Here's the page I'm on. There we go. Okay, so I am in Schoolytics. I am on the students tab. The students table. I'm on the students table. I see that I have Marcia right here. I'm going to hover on her student profile icon. You can see where it says drill down. So all of these icons are clickable. I'm going to click view student profile. And I get all kinds of great data about Marcia. Here we go. I can see some trends of when she's been turning in work, you know, when it loads here. Now look, Marcia's not done work all month. She hasn't done work all month and she turned everything in last night. No surprise, at the end of the grading period, she did everything in one day. That's Marcia for you. By the way, Marcia's a good friend of mine and she is able to take jokes. She did not get the assignments until today, just so we're clear. But she did really well on them. So that grade average is not based on the grades that you have in Google Classroom per se, if they're weighted. They're just grade based on the points that you assigned in Google Classroom. If you leave your grades in Google Classroom as total points, they should match in that sense. Right, and so I scroll down and you can see I have some other charts. I have a list of all of her scores. I can sort by due date. I can sort by class. I can sort by grade. And if I click on any of these titles, it's going to open that assignment in Google Classroom to allow me to interact quickly with Marcia and Marcia's progress report. Take a look here. It's doing it. Is there a maximum number of students in a Google Classroom that Schoolix will process the data for? I have some classrooms with a lot of students because I use it for professional development and I haven't had any problems. Anna, do you know of any trouble? Oh, she says
There's
no.
no maximum on the number of students. The only thing that is restricted is the number of classes.
But Google Classroom does restrict a single class to 1,000 students. So just so you know. That's not Schoolitics, that's a rule of Google Classroom. All right, so you'll see that it actually opened up right to Marcia and I'm able to give her feedback and give her a score and get back and forth. It opened a new tab, so I didn't even lose my place. So this really helps me quickly to drill down. All of these are filterable. I number all of my assignments. So I do hashtag 015. I'm gonna find that assignment really quickly without having to scroll and do all these things like I do in Google Classroom. So that's quite lovely. But I want to customize progress report. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to click on this green button, says progress report, create the Google Doc. And I click view report. And you'll see that it is that was pretty fast. Again, and this is saved to my Google Drive, you guys. Where am I going to find this? There is a folder in your Google Drive for Schoolitics that has all your progress reports that you made. How do you share this? I just click the share button. If I want to share it with a student, it's relatively easy because this, you know, when I start typing a kid's name, it auto-populates. It knows everybody for their emails that are in there. So I was able to send the missing assignments report to every single one of my students in under 10 minutes. Not to be fair, I do work part-time, but still didn't take me very long. And then before I send it to them, I check it, make sure it's the way I want, and I write them a note. So I'm like, hey, Marcia, you've been doing really awesome. Keep up the good work. I have highlighted the assignments that I want you to go back and update. Please read my feedback in the private comments, right? So I'm going to come down here. She turned in everything, but we're just going to pretend I want her to keep working on this one. I'm going to go to the highlighter in the toolbar and I'm going to highlight it so I can, because it's customizable. I'm like, it is too late for you to look at this one, or it's old or whatever. I am able to, of course, just right click and delete the row. I can delete the row. I can delete it manually, just in the same way that you would do all of the progress reports. And I'm seeing several questions come in through the chat. Why don't we go ahead and switch back to you?
Sounds good. Okay, so Richard asks, how do parents see the report? So could you just show how easy it would be to share the doc? So if you have a free teacher account, you can still share anything from Schoolitics, by clicking the three dots. You save whatever you wanted to save as a Google Doc.
You
And
can
then
hold
when
on 1 second. When she means by three dots is you'll see it has these three dots all over the place and they all say save to drive. Sorry, keep going.
Perfect, great. Okay, so you click progress report. That opens up the progress report that Alice was showing. And then from the progress report, you just click to share the same way you would share anything else in Google Drive. And then you just type in the parent's email. So that's if you want them to have electronic access. I know I've heard from other teachers that before parent-teacher conferences, they're just running off a copy for parents, and then they're presenting this to them, a paper copy as well. So, you know, getting things in multiple ways is always really helpful for parents, especially if they're getting lots of different things coming home. So those are both great solutions.
So Roxanne asked about comments. Comments and grading categories are two things that the API does not access. So the reason that you cannot get your private comments from Google Classroom into Schoolytics is because we literally don't have access to it. That is not something that they allow us to have. So one of the tricks that I have done in the past is I attach a blank spreadsheet or a blank Google Doc to student assignments, and I use that as my means of doing feedback. Like I put the feedback on the Google Doc, I put my rubric in the spreadsheet and my feedback comments in the spreadsheet so that I have something that's shareable. That is obviously a little bit more work, but it's pretty easy when I use the make a copy for each student, and I don't do it on every assignment. But yes, I would like that too. If I could code the private comments, I mean, many of you use things that I've coded. Can you imagine what I would do with that? I do all kinds of cool things. Sorry, anything else in there, Anna?
One last one. So Lucy asks about sending one progress report at a time or a whole batch. So this is one of the features that I'm super excited about. We have been working really hard to make this happen. And just before we went live, I got a comment from engineering. They showed me a little screenshot. So that is going to be out very, very soon. And we will stay tuned about whether that's going to be available as part of the free teacher accounts, or it may be something that is restricted to Teacher Pro. But we'll be sending out product@schoolitics.com, sends updates whenever we have those big things. So you can just stay tuned on email and we will let you know.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Perfect. All right. I'm going to switch back over here. That was our customizable progress reports. Oh, I was going to show, it is not super easy to share a Google Doc back in Google Classroom because, as you know, students can attach Google Docs, but you cannot. So I actually have a Chrome extension. This Chrome extension is called Anyone Can View. I think I have a slide on this. Positive I have a slide on this. It is right here. Here is the link. I'm going to put this down in the chat. Send this to everyone. Okay, so this is my Chrome extension. You see that it says Alice Keeler, as is with all of my Chrome extensions, all of my add-ons, anything that I've coded so far collects no user data. So please, no one has access to any of your stuff but you. It is safe for you to use. So this is how I share it, is I'm looking at my Google Doc. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, that share icon is locked. It is private, which means parents can't see it, students can't see it. It is private. I can click the share button and I can put in email addresses so that I can share it, and I can copy the link, same as usual, but watch how fast this is. I've got the Chrome extension. I just click it. All right, I've clicked it. All right, it's changed the sharing permission. Look at that blue button. I'm not touching anything. My hands are up. The share button in the upper right-hand corner now has the little link icon and the man. It's no longer the padlock, but even better, it copied the link to my clipboard. I'm going to put this down here in the chat. Look at my progress report. Okay, so then over in Google Classroom, I'm finding Marcia. I'm opening up her assignment. And in the private comments, here is your progress report. The other thing you could do if you wanted to share it with them without using the Chrome extension, come on, My internet doesn't like to be on a web call and use the internet at the same time. Anyone else's? Just mine. I'm just gonna like discard. Great. So on the stream, I'm gonna announce something to my class. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go all students. I'm gonna deselect all students. I'm not gonna do all students. I'm just gonna do Marcia. So I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna find Marcia. This class has a lot of people in it. And it's one of these Marcias. And I'm gonna click on the Add Google Drive. Now, where did that progress report go? It just went to Google Drive. So I'm actually able to share this with Marcia, not through email, not asking her to dig through her Google Drive. I can just add it from Drive without having a link. I just use the Drive icon. I can add it. I'm like, Marcia, here is your progress report, and post it. So that's now on the stream. And the only person that can see it is Marcia. I only posted it to her and I added in her progress report. Now, obviously that's not really sustainable for 150 students. I mean, you can do it. I would only do it like once for big grading periods if I was doing it for each kid individually. I do have it in my mind that this is one of my projects to code that I want to work on, getting all your progress reports one at a time, shared individually. So that's on my to-do list. We'll see how long it takes me to do it. Yes, Jason, we should never use docs, use slides. And of course, the answer is always a spreadsheet. But your progress reports today are going to be in Google Docs, which are fully customizable, that you can go ahead and edit those up. So I hope that you enjoy that. Create missing assignments reports. We do have missing assignments reports as well. And those are this is what I really want to bring with me when I walk into a parent meeting. So I want to print out the missing assignment reports. So I'm going to look on the left-hand side. It says missing assignments reports. I can sort by how many missing assignments because I'm going to focus on my kids who have the most, right? And then of course you have that drill down icon one more time. So I'm going to go in here to Schoolitics. I'm going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to click missing assignments report. And I see Marcia here has a missing assignment. So I'm going to click on the assignments drill down. It's going to bring up Marcia. Now here's what I did the other day. My students do have email. So I click email student assignments. I don't want to do that because I don't want her email address to be revealed on the recording, but it actually opens up an email with a list of all of her assignments. It doesn't do an attachment. It actually puts the assignments in the email with a link. And I just really fast went through every single one of my students and emailed them their missing assignments. It was amazing. But otherwise, you're going to go use that 3 dots menu that Anna mentioned. So I'm going to do the 3 dots menu. Remember, all over the place in Schoolix, we have these 3 dots. 3 dots means you can save it to Drive, which means that you can customize it. So I'm going to 3 dots save to Drive. I'm going to customize this. I'm going to create a Google Doc. Thank you, Evelyn. I love it too. Right? Do you see how quick that was? Even when I'm on a video call. And I'm going to go ahead and view the report. And you can see this is the one assignment that Marcia is missing. But it's not just something I can print out. It's a Google Doc. So I'm like, Marcia, you are struggling with semicolons. Can you try using Flipgrid or something? Right? I can give her a little note. I mean, it allows me to look through here, like some of these missing assignments, obviously not Marcia's, but it's too late. Like it's not even bother putting it on the missing assignments report. Or you got a kiddo who's really far behind. You know what it feels like to look at, you have 10,000 things to do. It feels like giving up. How about I just pick out the 3 things that you could focus on right now? You know what? Here's this one, here's this, just delete away. You can look at this. I'm just going to highlight and hit the delete key. Boom, doesn't exist. So go through the progress report before you give it to the kid. Like, this is overwhelming. Let's give him something that he can make some progress on. And that's what I really love about Schoolitics, is because when I get onto the student level, right, I go back to that student table and I pick a student, I can choose the date range so I can see if they've been improving. When I go to missing assignments, I can do it on the date range. So I'm like, this last week, you have no missing assignments. Let's just look at the last 2 weeks. What are your missing assignments for the last 2 weeks? That's going to make a much more manageable list. And so we can look for these trends if they're improving by just modifying.
Alice, we lost you. We lost audio. We don't have, Alice, we don't have audio.
it has your classes and it has an add to classroom button. And here's the thing that drives you nuts about reusing assignments. Am I right? Scrolling. Lots of scrolling. In here, you can show multiple classes that you want to reuse from. Sometimes I'm pulling from more than one class. Like I want assignment from this class to reuse and assignment from this class to reuse. That's not fun in classroom. It's easy in Schoolitics. You'll see on the left-hand side that I have these check boxes. I can check box which classes I want to reuse from. And then I can see the full description. Wait, I was already in there. Read the full description and it shows you the attachments, and the attachments are clickable. So before you reuse it, you can look at it and be like, do I want to reuse this? Without having to re-scroll. It's amazing. Would you please just take a minute? Would you please just take a minute to click on Content Library on the left side, or it's under the 3 lines menu. It says Content Library. 2 ways to get there. And then I'm going to click on this icon. It's going to open up this Google form. This is the Google form I assigned, the actual form. I can edit it. And I'm like, little drop downy arrow. I can read the full description. And then I'm going to click here, add to classroom. Boom, I'm going to assign it to my class. Post as a draft. I go open the draft. I can schedule it to multiple classes from Classroom. So you just want to post as a draft into one of them. It does only let you pick one and push that out. Yes, Stephanie, I would love to show that again. I'm going to go to the dashboard. I am going to come down to the content library on the left-hand side. Apparently I had frozen up. Sorry about that. I'm going to filter this. So I'm only going to show assignments that I want to reuse in this one class. And I use hashtags on my assignments. I'm going to get to that in 2 seconds. So I want only assignments that have an activity, and I want them to be about collaborate because I have a search bar. Who didn't want a search bar? We all did. We all did. Oops, what happened here? How did it? All right, I'm going to slides. It's going to do it. I've done this before, small glitch. If I refresh it, it works good because I start to take screenshots to send it to my boss. I'm like, this is glitching. And then when I try to recreate it, it works. Of course, there you go. See, right? Now it's slides, it's on the activity tag, and it's just for that classroom. So I can drill this down all kinds of ways. And I just click add to classroom and I pick which class that I want to post it to. So that is huge, I think. I hope you enjoy that. Since I only have 2 minutes left, I would like to talk about those assignment tags really quick. I am hashtagging the heck out of my descriptions. I'm in week 9, so I'm doing hashtag week 9 because back in the content library, I can sort by week 9. So next year when I'm in week 9, I'm only looking at week 9 assignments. Yes, I'm putting the grading category, hashtag the grading category, hashtag the standard, hashtag the DOK level, hashtag the type of assignment, if it's a group assignment, if it's a quiz, if it's a formative assessment. Like I hashtag this all over the place. I get 10 hashtags in a description. It doesn't read the title, it reads the body. So think about any way that you would like to break down and get information. Make a hashtag out of it so that when you're in Schoolitics, you're going to see from the dashboard. You see it says assignment tags here on the left-hand side. And this is a really new feature. So expect to see a lot more ways that we're going to be using these hashtags for you, that we're going to be able to get you better, more customized progress reports based on the hashtags. But for right now, I can see that only 5% of my assignments are completed, and that ain't great. So that's some good information for me, but activities have a little bit more engagement on them, but everyone loves some DOK too. I mean, who doesn't like higher critical thinking, right? So real quickly, I'm able to get some really fast and easy data to know what's working and what's not working. And of course, I can adjust the hashtags. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining. I do not want to keep you late. I got through all of these. This was the last one. I actually need to change the question. So If you do want to share what is your wish for Google Classroom that maybe we could solve for you, I hope today that we were able to solve several of your wishes. But if you have any more that you would like to share with us, please feel free to go to domorewithclassroom.com and give us your wish, or you can email support@schoolitics.com and let us know what feature requests that you have. Lorraine, when will we get the recording? As soon as we can. Let's say within a week. Does that sound reasonable, Anna? I don't see any reason to delay. We'll figure this out. Oh, thanks,
Sounds good to
Brittany.
me.
All right, was there anything else that you saw on there, Anna? Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it.
I see the hashtag tip is the best.
It really is.
Absolutely true. Jason asked if you use the same numbering system every year.
I do. And I start at hashtag 001 and I never repeat. So when I end unit 2, I usually will round up. So I was like on number 36. So then I just go up to like number 50 for unit 2. And I just skip a whole bunch in between just because I like to start the new unit at a nice number that I enjoy. Or sometimes I'll just jump up to 100, but I don't reuse. Not at the semester, not ever, until next year.